Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Spill the Tea with Tommy D. So as promised, last week I said we were going to do a flavored white tea, and that's what we're going to do today. So I have this white tea called Champagne White, which is from an online tea company called Tea Lyra, or Tea Lyra. I'm not 100% sure, but they say they're the galaxy of teas, and I've been using them for years and enjoying it. They also send you a nice coupon with every purchase. They actually send you like a 25% coupon for more tea. So I highly recommend them, and I will share this nice tea with you. So as I mentioned, it is a flavored white tea. So when I mentioned, flavored white tea, the difference between what we did with our Earl Grey from last week. Earl Grey is more of a scented tea. So the difference between a scented tea and a flavored tea is a flavored tea, you can actually see the whole ingredients, like if there's fruit pieces or cinnamon, you can see the actual bits of flavoring, as opposed to with scented, like an Earl Grey, or for example a lavender tea is a scented tea because the lavender blossoms aren't actually in, or the bergamot aren't actually in the tea leaves. They're like laid out with the tea leaves, so the tea leaves kind of absorb that scent. So that's the difference between flavored and scented. So you can see, if you want to take a good look, I'll try and hold it up, see if I can get a... So you can see, if you can see, there's a little bit. So this tea has white Pal Moon Tan white tea, rosehip peel, freeze-dried black currants, mallow, and cornflower blossoms. So I can see the actual black currants, I can see the blossoms, and this one's really cool because, if I can get a good one here, you can actually see like more of the big actual bits of the tea leaves. Here's a good one. So you can see that that's the actual tea leaf, as opposed to when we did the Earl Grey, it was a little more chopped up, a little more fine. So this one, I looked at it, so the Pao Moon Tan is actually a white tea from the Fujian province in China. So last week I mentioned that all tea comes from China, and by that I meant the tea plant itself, Camellia sinensis, was found in China. It originated in China. It has been moved to other parts of the world. So that's why you have tea in, Japan. You have tea in, last week we did Turkish, so Turkish tea. There's tea all over the world now because they've moved the plant to different locations. But it originated from China. So now let's talk about the white tea. So the difference, so this one's a white tea. Last week we did a black tea. So white tea and black tea, the big difference is when they pick the tea leaves, the tea leaves are plucked, and once the tea leaves are picked, they start to oxidize. Think of like rust on a pipe. So a black tea, they leave the tea leaves out and they fully oxidize. They let the tea leaves fully oxidize, which is why it's black, dark, and then we have our white tea leaves. What they do is they pluck them. Now to stop the oxidation process, they apply heat to the tea leaves. So either sometimes it'll be like laying out in the sun, sometimes it'll be like hot air blown on the tea leaves, but once heat's applied to it, it stops the oxidation. So the other cool thing about white tea is when it comes to white tea, they tend to pick, so when the plant grows, the bigger tea leaves are on the bottom, the younger tea leaves tend to be more high quality are on the top. So they tend to take the higher tea leaves for white tea, so it's a little bit more high quality, which is usually why it's a little more expensive. So now you know. This tea, the Panmu Tan, I'm not Chinese, give me a break. Like I said, Fujian province in China. It tends to be apparently a little bit more of a heartier tea because it actually steeps at 190 degrees. So for that, you're probably wondering. So I don't use a tea temperature, tea thermometer. Some people ask me. Some people do have them. There's a really cool rule of thumb for brewing teas that don't brew at boiling. So like the black tea we did was like a 205 boil or boiling water you can use for that. So for 190 or 185, usually that's what you'd see with like an oolong tea. You can actually just take one ice cube. Got my boiling water here. Take the one ice cube with the boiling water, pour it in there. Bada bing, bada boom. It's about 190. It doesn't have to be exact, but the main purpose of this is, especially with like white teas and green teas, if you use water that's too hot, what'll happen is you actually burn the tea leaves and you'll get a burnt taste. So if you're brewing like a green tea at home and you're like, why does this taste burnt? It's probably because your water's too hot. If it tastes a little sour, it probably means you're steeping your tea too long. So again, champagne white, we got our tea, we got our water. Water ice cube is melted, so that's at about 190. And then we have our tea leaves ready to go. This one steeps for about 3 to 4 minutes. So I got my 4-minute timer here. Okay, just keep this melted. There we go. Alright, so I got my tea leaves there. I do have a nice glass mug that I can literally just steep it in there so you can all see, but that is on back order because quarantine and all that such. Cool, so we got our tea leaves a brewing. 4 minutes. We're good to go. Going to the grocery store a lot because of, quarantine, doing a lot of shopping for family and whatnot. I'm wearing the mask. The only problem is I learned from wearing the mask that my burps smell really bad. Because I'll just hotbox myself in my mask, and it's pretty gross. I don't know. I got my gastritis. I didn't realize how bad it was. But the other thing, so I go shopping at Stop and Shop sometimes, and Stop and Shop has this robot that drives around the store and will like identify spills and let the employees know. It's like a big tower. It's got googly eyes and a smiley face, and it's named Marty. And I think it's one thing to make a robot that lets them know about the spills. I think it's another thing to give it a name and a personality. Because I feel like that's unfair to the other employees. Because a human can't compete with a robot. If this is the direction we're going, it's bad. It's bad. Because the robot lives in the store, so it's always on time. It's got a smiley face. It's always in a good mood. It can't compete, It can't. John, that's always high, that works in produce, is not going to last compared to a robot. Because, like, Marty doesn't come in late, with bags under his eyes because his 3 kids kept him up all night. It's not the same. It's going to be, I think it's the beginning of the end. And these are our essential workers. These are the ones these are some of the few people that have jobs left, other than nurses and stuff. So, like, where do we go from there? Like, once Marty gets like arms and legs, it's really over. Instead of identifying the spills, he's cleaning them up. Next thing you know, he's stocking shelves. And the last step is he's holding the clipboard and he's firing John from produce. I don't think it's a good move. I don't know. Like, it's like I think it's not bad to have robots or something help us with things. But if we're going to start replacing them, like, where do we go from there? Like, I work at a coffee shop, which is ironic, because, the tea and stuff. But, like, the moment, if they have a robot that starts doing fancy latte art, that's it. That's a wrap. And a lot of these people don't want to do, like, can't code. I can't code. I can barely edit this video. I don't really know where to go from there. It's smart. Like, I've seen enough episodes of Doctor Who where, like, I have this feeling that eventually those googly eyes are going to turn into, like, slanted angry eyes, and they're going to start taking over. This is sounding kind of conspiracy theory-ish, but it's, like, I think it's a legit concern. Where, like, Marty's going to be taken over. This is step one. Step one on the robot train, I guess. How much longer until, do we even really need the grocery stores? Imagine the grocery stores being fully automated. Like, where do those people go? I guess this is the good thing about trying to figure out where jobs are going to go. Because now, what happens if we're in quarantine all the time, and then the people at the grocery store don't have jobs? I don't know. It's weird. We got to keep an eye on Marty, is what I'm saying. Keep an eye out. If there's going to be other ones. I'll walk in front of it to see, like, how good it is, and it's really good. I like I'm like, oh, lawsuit, this thing runs me over, I'm getting a payday. And I step in and it's like, I'm like, oh, fucking Marty, you got me. Tea's done. Timer. Tea leaves coming out. Oh, that's a nice color. That's a nice color. Cool. So now you can see. Let's take a look at the wet tea leaves there too. Now, as I mentioned, this has got the dried black currants. It's got a lot of blossoms in it. So I am kind of expecting this to have somewhat of a floral, but a little bit of fruity flavor to it. Like I said, I'm waiting on my glass mug that I can do this with without... I know. I've had comments already. They're like, oh, you actually spilled the tea. Yep, there it is. There it is, folks. All right, Tommy D. I spilled the tea. All right, let's talk about this tea. So, you can see... I don't want to tilt it too far forward, but you can see the big difference there in the color compared to the black tea we did. Very... Well, I wouldn't say... It's definitely a light body, light to medium. There are white teas that'll yield a much lighter brew, but this one for sure is much lighter than the Earl Grey. So as we did the last time, we smelled the tea. I actually smell more of the black currants right away. All right, then we slurp it. Wow, the black currants are much more prevalent than I expected. The good thing about, so with white teas, it definitely, for especially flavored white teas, the way it steeps, there's like the flavors are much more subtle. So like if you're used to drinking coffee and stuff like that, this might not be, I'm not going to say it, so don't even worry. But this might not be the type of tea you would want. But if you're into like lighter flavored things, more subtle flavors, this is definitely up your alley. Because like you get the... So like the white tea, you can taste the white tea is like a little more mellow. It's not as bold as like the black tea. It's not harsh, you know. It's just much more lighter. Also really good iced. When it gets to summer, I'll show you how to make some wicked iced tea with loose leaf tea. Wicked. What am I, from Boston? All right. Yeah, so I'd say more of the black currants are the focus, and then you get the floralness underneath, and obviously the white tea flavor is there. So that's it. Episode 2. Tea Lyra. Look them up. Delicious. Amazing. We're going to do green teas next week. I'm sure a lot of people, everyone's always into the green tea, so we're going to talk about, I got a sencha coming, so hopefully, it's supposed to come today, so hopefully it doesn't take another week. That's it. Spill the tea with Tommy D. I said it right this time at the end. Episode 2. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and have a good one.